A very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us on the Thursday edition of the show. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Tonight on the show, there are quite a few things to talk about on the show. The Olympics on the front burner. We'll also talk about football on the domestic scene. Talking about the Nigeria Professional Football League with 4 matches to go this season. Aqua United sitting pretty on top of the table. We'll also look at the quest to win laurels at the Olympics. One man will get our attention tonight as he seeks to do what only Steffi Graf has done before, which is winning the Golden Slam. All the slams in the year, plus the Olympics. I'm talking about Novak Djokovic. Will he be able to do that? We'll see. Of course, at some point, we'll listen to him on the show. That's the outlook of the show tonight. Plead with you to sit back, relax, and to enjoy what's on offer. Let me quickly introduce my partners on the show. In the Lagos studio with me tonight, Bolu Omoni makes a return, joins me this Thursday evening. Good to see you, Bolu. Thanks for being here.
Good to be here again after, good to be back again. Then the Olympics has brought what all of us wanted. Yes, the major events have not started yet, but football is here. And we've experienced lots of surprise results. The United States losing 3-0. Nobody saw that coming to Sweden. Formiga and what's her name, Martha setting Olympic records for Brazil. And I don't know why Zambia didn't allow the Super Falcons to go. No team in this lifetime would defeat Super Falcons by 10. 10 goals to 3. And the male category, surprise results have started already. About 6 players from the Spanish team in the Olympics are here. And they still could not score. This is what we've been waiting for. And thanks to the IOC and Tokyo, we're experiencing it already.
All right, so that's going to be more of all of that as we go on the show. At some point, one of our friends will join us as we seek to have a robust discussion on everything that I've talked about. And let me do the introduction quickly. Favor Itua joins us all the way from Port Harcourt. Greetings to you, Favor. Thanks for finding out time to be with us on the show tonight.
Yeah, thank you very much, Kevin. Good evening. Thanks for having me.
All right. So we're going to have a swell ride on the show. There's a lot to talk about. But let's begin everything tonight with the Olympics segment. All right, that's it. On this segment, we'll tell you everything you need to know about the Olympics and everything in between, all the stories. Bolu started it already, telling you some of the things happening. We've not had the opening ceremony yet, but records are being set. He's talking about Marta, he's talking about Formiga. Marta scoring in our 5th consecutive Olympic, and Formiga at 43, making a 7th appearance at the Olympics. Very, very interesting things. United States had their 44-match unbeaten run ended yesterday by the Swedes. So that's the outlook of the show. But let's just start by saying it's just a day to the Olympics, just one day. And in some places, it might not be one day, depending on time differentials. But for us in this part of the world, it's just one day. And Bolu, I'm not going to ask you if you're feeling the vibes. Everybody's feeling it. There's no need. I think that question is out of place at this moment. But let's go to the next thing, Bolu. It's the Olympic torch relay. It's winding up. Spent the last day in and around some places in Tokyo. Of course, very restricted because of all the things. That's it on your screen. Very restricted. We talked about it when it started. 47 prefectures in Japan. He toured all of those spaces and used a little over 2 weeks in the capital city, Tokyo. And this, of course, all of these events will closely be followed by the opening ceremony.
Well, it's now getting more interesting in terms of feeling. It was difficult leaving your TV screen today because the game started very early in the morning up till later. That was another surprise result later this evening. But I think it's been interesting. Now we are feeling the vibe step by step. Remember we talked about how the Euros is taking the attention away from the Olympics. After the Euros, we look at Copa America. After that, everyone is now thinking about the Euros. And now we can see the beauty of it. The Japanese are now fully ready. Remember at the point they were against, even the locals in Tokyo were like, we don't want this event to happen. Later, they started coming out day by day, despite the restrictions. They fought. I like that, the fact that they wanted to watch. At the same time, they still follow through. They still obeyed every instruction, stayed at quality distance, watching from distance, and shouting, screaming, celebrating. And some cities that were even pure restrictions, nobody came out. But again, it's here. By this time tomorrow, the opening ceremony is done and dusted, and events are already hitting the street. So Tokyo 2020 is happening. If you don't want it, just switch off your screen, because for the next 1 month, we will definitely be hitting every headline possible.
All right. Okay, let me go to Favor quickly. Favor, in spite of all the negative headlines, it's upon us. We're seeing the games already. So it's here. And it's hard, like Bolu said, it's hard not to feel it. Even though it's a bit scaled down, but it's hard not to know that the Olympics is here.
Yeah, it's very difficult not to know that the Olympics is here. We know that for Team Nigeria, for instance, when we see the flag being hoisted, at the games, we know, yes, definitely we're already enjoying the atmosphere of the Olympics. So many persons might say, yes, we might not be participating in so many sports, but we can also know that, from the football aspect, we can see results of football matches being played by African teams, by teams in Europe, by teams in Asia, and then not forgetting also, daily, we're getting to see the arrangements put in place. This is coming out from the Olympic, from the Games village. I think the fever, it might not be as what we expect. Of course, COVID-19 really affected the sport and the tournament, knowing fully well that at some point we were expecting the Olympics to go down, but the first major of no times to COVID-19 really affected. So I think right now we're trying to adjust. We've adjusted already to the time. And we can say that, yes, the Olympics is here. If our athletes are already in Japan, the NOC president is already there, don't forget the Minister of Sport. We can now say, okay, yes, we are ready for the Olympics. And don't forget, build up to the games has really shown that we might expect something different this particular year, because some names are coming up. Some persons are really showing that they've got so many first-time appearances, and that is also the positives of the COVID-19, because they allowed some athletes to qualify for the Olympics. So many persons who thought that they would not make it because of the tournaments were given opportunities as a result of the extension. They had to attend more tournaments. So I think this time around, the fever is here, and we're already feeling it from the footballing aspect, and we'll definitely feel more of it in days to come.
Surely, especially with the opening ceremony to come. So let's just talk about the opening ceremony, guys. Of course, about 950 people. Very disappointing, because you would have thought that you would have more, but no thanks to COVID. About 950 people, including officials and journalists, will watch the opening ceremony tomorrow. Of course, at the main stadium, from which the spectators have already been banned. We knew that already. In addition to that group will be performers and athletes participating in the game. So what you're going to have, 950 people, including, of the 950, you have journalists, you have officials. Aside that 950, then each country's delegation will be there. And of course, the things we're used to with the Olympics, where you fly, where your country, the noise, a lot of that obviously would be missing. But nonetheless, the pride of representing your country will also make you feel good.
Well, I guess what football has shown in the last 1.5 seasons is stadium ambience. So probably that could help a little bit. But one thing is certain, while your flag will be hoisted, wherever you are in your house, you know that my family are screaming, my fans are screaming, the nation, everyone is screaming wherever they are. But the beauty is, when you get back home, if you don't feel it there, you feel it when you get back home. Because for we that will be watching from home, it's probably going to be the same feeling. It's those that usually go to the venues that probably feel a different atmosphere. But for those that be watching from home, immediately you see your country's flag, the excitement, the vibe, the fact that you are represented there. Either 1 athlete, 1,000 athletes, so long they call your country and your flag bearer, thankfully Nigeria don't have decorate, we will celebrate. So everyone is adjusting to what is right now. And I'm sure the athletes know already. They know the fans are not going to be there to scream their names. They know the fans won't be there to shout Nigeria. But one thing is certain, the fact that we are here, like we've seen some athletes doing a tour around the venues and everything. So the fact that they are here, and they are here to compete, I'm sure everyone is ready. They are prepared for what is to come. And the ceremony for those that will be watching from home will likely be the same thing, because the presentations, the walk pass, the match pass, the fans, the flag bearing and everything is definitely going to be the same thing to us that will be watching from home.
I agree with you. Let me ask a favor to do this for me. Of course, it's our job to report events, it's our job. But let's remove ourselves from that duty and look at this as a fan. What will be missing tomorrow if you're not a journalist, because your job, you're going to be watching, but if you're just a sports fan, what would be missing? We know the spectators will not be there. Just 950 people plus each country's delegation. You've seen Olympics in times past. So, how, you know, in terms of the feeling for the sports fan, what's the difference? What's it going to be like?
I think it has to do with, watching virtually. Of course, we know the fans will not be at the opening ceremony, but then you get to see performances from artists, local artists, look at also big name artists in the world. You get to see some form of displays, and then after the displays is being done, he also chants from the fans. I mean, from the crowd, screaming and supporting. I think it has to do generally with the fans not being there at the moment. The parade, what we have each country going around the field, going around the pattern tracks, raise the flag, the banner, and then I think the fans says it all. I mean, not having the fans, it's something I think would really affect the Olympics. But then we've adjusted, like I said before. But then I think that also the contingents. I mean, imagine the number of tickets that would have been sold if fans have been allowed to come watch the finals. I mean, the opening ceremony. Also look at the tickets from aircraft, which of course people would have booked for now. So a lot of things will be missing in terms of the revenue that you probably expect compared to when we have the visitors or fans coming to the stadium. So those might be missing, and we would have almost not a full stadium. And I think that's also what's still relating to the fans. Because without the fans, you can't comprehend what would have happened if we were all allowed to enter the stadium in Tokyo. I mean, you can't really comprehend that. But then, like, it's the new normal, so we just have to cope with it.
Yeah, it's a new normal. We have to cope with it. And all of us, even from our end, doing our job, we're going to try to see what it's going to be like. I mean, pin drop silence. That's what it's going to be like. We're not used to that. Sports people, we're used to the noise. We're used to the razzmatazz. We're used to all of that. We're not, for want of a better word, we're not used to seeing stadiums olu. You manufactured sounds and all of that. It's not always easy. But tomorrow, dig down our hands. We'll see. But Bolu, let's move on and talk about something that is what is getting everybody worried. New cases, 2 new cases today. Overall, 12 new cases from the Olympic Village. The IOC, International Olympic Committee, has tried to be reassuring as possible. Some people in Japan are still pretty scared. A lot of people around the world are wondering if we can be having cases in the Olympic Village. What about the other places? But we're getting assurance on the highest level. We're going to listen to some reaction to that news. But I want to get your thoughts when you begin to hear, first it was 1, first now 2, then new cases, now totaling about 12. How worried should people be?
Well, the first question is, how did they get COVID? Were they where they were supposed to be? Was it because of some persons that came out? Remember, we talked about players or athletes being cautious is one thing. All the workforce being cautious is another thing. Are you going to camp them? Will they be going home? Will they be using public transport, contact with different persons?
They get it because they had contact with some officials?
So I think the more the case begins to rise, they have to start looking at the possibilities. If it means, I don't know if they're camping all the workforce, but if it means letting everyone stay in the same place like they did in the bubble for NBA playoffs last season, if that will be the solution to make sure we have a clean event, I think the IOC will have to look into possible options. But again, 12 is bad, but at the same time, 12 is still much more preferable than having 100, 200. They have to start looking at what happens. Where did those guys go to? Are they living where they are supposed to be? Are they living in the Olympic Village? They have to make sure everyone is cautious. Remember before now, they have a rule book for the Olympics this year. You go this place, you are going back home, both for journalists and for athletes. So they have to look out for where these guys out of where they're supposed to be. If that's how they got COVID, if you send them back, I think others will be very, very cautious. But again, we are waiting for the final say from the IOC.
All right, that's what we're waiting for. All right, let's just move on. While all of this is going on, there are also fears in certain quarters that those who want to cheat, those who intend to spike the system, will use all of this distraction as an opportunity to get some things into their system, avoid trace, and have an advantage over others. But, of course, the director of the International Olympic Committee Testing Agency, that's talking about Benjamin Cohen, has been giving some explanation as to what the IOC is doing about doping, doping control, anti-doping measures at the Olympics, and the quest to ensure that those who win by merit. Let's listen to him. We'll come back to get the thoughts of the guys on what he has said. And he also made reference to the Russians. A lot of attention on the Russians as well.
We're doing our very best to catch the cheats, and that's our role here at the ITA. We're here to obviously first and foremost protect the health of the athletes and protect the integrity of the competitions. We're here, we're fully focused, we're fully determined to do our job the best we can, and to catch the cheats with the tools that we have available. So in that sense, COVID has obviously made our life more complicated, but that has not impacted our determination, our focus, and the tools that we have at our disposal. So obviously I will not hide that the Russian athletes come high in the risk assessments based on previous years and previous issues, but depending on the sport, depending on the discipline, depending on the results of those individual athletes, they are not treated differently than other athletes. There may be athletes that are with the same risk level than the Russian delegation, so there is no specific targeting.
All right. Let me go to favor quickly. How reassuring does that sound? No specific targeting, but they're not going to hide that there's going to be a lot of scrutiny on the Russians. COVID has made life hard, but they're going to do their best to ensure that people don't get away when they cheat.
I think it's a bit of relief for the athletes. I mean, they can rest assured that they can compete with a fair way without, having to think about one or two persons going to take substances that are already banned. But then we've seen over the years that, as after these have been made, statements like these have been made, we still see athletes go behind, and take substances that are banned, and some of them might not be stripped of their medal, not until, after the Olympics, maybe when they are tested, after the first, second, and third test, and then the medals have been withdrawn from the athletes. So I think over time, the IOC, the WADA, anti-doping agencies, it's not swift. It's not immediately. I mean, after you've celebrated, you've possibly shouted for glory, and then you get back home, haven't forgotten about the tournament, and then weeks or years later, you hear a particular athlete has been stripped of the medal won at the Olympics because of this and that. It will not be the same feeling as when it's instant. I mean, after a race, we saw what happened with so many of our athletes before now, not just the track and field, but then we've seen also in powerlifting, where after some years they've been tested and they've been banned, and medals being stripped from them. I think if the International Olympic Committee can look into this and see how these athletes samples are gotten, and then we have immediate results. Although some of the substances might not show almost immediately, but if there is a way we can have this done almost immediately, I think it will help the athletes well. And also, education is also something I guess every of the Olympic Committee must have told each and everybody, just like the Nigerian Olympic Committee, telling the athletes what to, this is a list of what you should do, what you shouldn't do. And the good thing is, at the 8th grade level in Nigeria, the National Youth Games were already educating and also advising the youths not to, go into substances that are banned by the committees responsible for that. Also at the National Sports Festival level. So I believe in the coming days, this would be looked at. But then from the words of the man who just spoke, I think that would be a sign of relief for athletes to be competing, that they can compete fairly without any cause for alarm.
Yeah. All right. If they can compete fairly. We need to go on a break right about now. There's still a lot to unpack from all of this. And I'm also interested in Bolu's response, how assuring are those words from the IOC. Let's go for that break. We'll come back. We're still talking about the Tokyo 2020 Olympics. Welcome back. So, Bolu, I wouldn't say what I said off camera, but and I know you won't expose me, but how reassuring are those words, especially the times we're living in?
Well, one thing is sure. Any record from a Russian, you are getting tested. That one is certain.
3 times.
You are going for testing. Whatever you do, you have to be. wear Nigerian jersey, wear anything. So long you are a Russian, but you are going to test it. But again, I think it's just trying to calm the nerves. One thing is certain, the focus for now is on how every athlete and participants will be safe from COVID. Yes, if they may not think about COVID drug details now, but even if you get you tested, the results may not be effective until maybe after 5 years, like a work favor said, but they will come for you. That is sure. But for now, I think the only thing in every member of IOC's mind from the top to the bottom is, how do we finish these Olympic Games without having multiple COVID cases? So in terms of testing, I'm not sure that's their focus for now. Yes, they will have maybe one eye on it, except you're a Russian. Every Russian at this event, any record you are going in, even any bronze medal you are going in for testing. But for every other person, I think the focus is, let's be safe. Let COVID not affect this event.
Yes.
Let COVID not stop this event. But one thing is certain. If not now, if 5 years, 2, 3 years, they will still get back to any athletes that feels they can maybe, because the attention is not there, let me take something and go. One thing is sure, I think they will get, if not all of them, they will get most of them.
All right, so athletes may not be caught on the spot, but later on, they would. So, I mean, what's the point? Like Favor said, what's the point of winning, celebrating, the world is happy for you, then a year or two down the line, you get stripped? Because I agree with skeptics who feel that, like you rightly said, everybody's thinking about not catching COVID. So the scrutiny will not be top notch. So people who really want to spike might spike, but you're not going to get away with it at some point.
Still remember Usain Bolt. People still think Usain would have 9 gold medals. But the unfortunate story, it was not even him. It was his teammate, but again.
And I can bet you, his samples will be revisited at every opportunity.
Every opportunity, yeah. So that's the disadvantage. If you think the only way you can escape anything is if you are never tested.
Yes.
But it's not possible, because if you have a record of, let's say 100 meters, for example, your record is always between 10 seconds to 12 every time you run. If you make maybe 9.5, they can still think, but you can't make 8. They will know something, you will get tested. So the only way to escape is, like you said, just to be clean. So then that's what I think President Buhari and the sponsor, everyone has told that. It's better to come back and win nothing than to go there and embarrass yourself and the nation.
All right, so that's it. Okay, so what's in it for Team Nigeria? I'm very sure we've been saying a lot of things. Okay, let's talk about Team Nigeria. Team Nigeria is going to be involved tomorrow. Let's give you we're going to be involved in rowing tomorrow. So let's just tell you, Toko Esther will be involved in rowing. The women's single scores 8-1. That's the event. The lady in your picture, Esther, is what we call her. She's going to be involved in women's single scores. All the best to her as she does her best to make the nation proud. And of course, we'll do what we love doing here. We'll sit back, relax, keep vigil, watch whatever she's doing, and wish her all the best. Okay, guys, let's move on to something I find very, very intriguing. This is a man chasing records. This is a man who is not satisfied with all he has achieved. Right about now, he's on the same level with Roger Federer and Rafael Nadal. And if current form is anything to go by, it looks like he will surpass them. He's younger and is stronger. But guess what? He's not looking at the calendar slam. He's done that before. He's not looking at the Djokovic slam. He's done that before. He's looking for the golden slam, Novak Djokovic. And he has done it 3 over 5 already. All that remains is Tokyo and the US Open. And at Tokyo, if Nadal is not there, Roger Federer is not there, I'm beginning to wonder who's going to stop him. It's very hard to bet against him. But guys, I want you to listen to Novak Djokovic first. Then when we're done, I'll ask you guys if you think he can do it. But a lot of people are already thinking that Novak Djokovic is a moving train. Just don't get in front of that moving train at this very moment. Let's listen to the juggernaut himself, Novak Djokovic.
I will take things very slowly and cautiously and focus only on the next challenge, but this is kind of an approach that I really need to have, because in the past I wasn't probably fully experiencing that approach, and that has backfired on me. And I start to feel that there was a lot of distractions around that were influencing my performance. I know that there is a lot of things on the line. I know there is history on the line. I'm privileged and motivated to be in this position. I've worked very hard to be there, with my team, of course. But you know, let's talk about history if everything goes great here after I finish with the tournament. So right now, it's all focus goes to the next challenge.
And Novak Djokovic. Let's talk about history when everything goes according to the plan. Its own words. Bolu, 3 times he's been at the Olympics. It didn't happen. But something makes everybody feel this one is different.
Well, every event, every tournament, every competition has a specialty. You would believe someone like Djokovic doesn't have. Even Federer doesn't have a singles gold medal at the Olympics. He has double. So it means it's not as easy as many people just think, so long you've won Grand Slam, you can easily walk by. He knows deep down. I tell people, when you hear players are not thinking it's a lie, they know. Every time you hear Ronaldo, people like he knows, Messi knows. These guys know there's something to fight for, and it's one of the things that motivate them. But I like what he said, he's not getting distracted by it. But again, in the past years, he was also at his best. But somehow, those young guys or the Federers, the Nadals have just found ways to beat him. So nobody knows. And the Murray has not, when he was not at his best, he couldn't win major Grand Slams, but he went to the Olympic Games and defeated even Roger Federer. So the Olympics probably brings in a different vibe. Maybe because it's not the popular Grand Slam in code, the attention is different. You have no second chance. When you lose one, you know you're coming back in 4 years. So I'm sure he would probably rather win this and lose the US Open than to lose this one and win the US Open. So his focus is on
He's
this
34.
one. He
might not
even 30. He will be 37 by then. So he may have retired by then. So I'm sure he's focused on winning this one, and he wants to take it a step at a time. The first thing is go for your next opponent. Whatever happens, if he had not won the US Open, French Open, maybe we would not have been here. But he has won it. It means he's thinking about the Golden Slam. Can it happen? Yes, but he needs to focus on this Olympic Games first.
All right. And no tennis player currently in this kind of situation, apart from Novak Djokovic, it's hard to bet against him. Let me go to Favor and get his thoughts. Do you think that, I mean, Bolu has explained everything that needs to be explained. Even at those times when he didn't win, he was at his best. So if you're saying he's at his best, he was at his best at those times as well. But there's something about his current form that makes people think, yeah, he might be able to do it.
For me, Novak Djokovic this year has shown that he's a man who is on a course. He's on a mission to get something. I mean, all of the Grand Slams this year, we've already seen him. He has taken 3 Grand Slams this year, and he's looking forward to adding an Olympic medal to his, whatever he has gotten so far. And looking at Andy Murray and Novak Djokovic, it's very difficult to bet against him not getting this one. Yes, 2008, he won bronze at the Beijing Olympics. 2012, not a good one for him. He lost the bronze medal match. Also in 2016 to the same tennis player, Juan Martín del Potro. But then looking at this particular year, I think one thing that's great for Novak Djokovic is he takes the game, it's one at a time. And then looking at the tennis players in this tournament at the Tokyo Olympic Games, I think for Andrei Rublev and Alexander Zverev, I think these are the 2 guys who might really give him a run for his money. The absence of Roger Federer, the absence of Rafael Nadal. Yes, we have and the Murray, but we can say it's not even in.
Okay, it does appear that we lost Favor there. So get back so that we can continue with our conversation. Let's just move away from tennis at this point and go to football. We'll get Favor back on later on. Let's show you the results from the Olympics today. With the football event. There you have it on your screen. Let's take it group by group. I'll get the thoughts of the guys. Group A, Mexico defeated France. They had some guys that we know, Florian Thauvin, Andre Pierre Guignac, but yet they lost. Japan, good one for them, defeated South Africa by a lone goal. Those matches in Group A. We go to Group B. New Zealand defeated South Korea by a lone goal. You have Honduras losing to Romania also by a lone goal. Egypt held Spain to a goalless draw. Bolu had already talked about Spain having some players from the Euro Championships in the squad, yet couldn't win. Argentina losing to Australia 2 goals. That's in Group C. Let's go to Group D. Group D is what brought smiles to the face of Africans today. Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, defeated Saudi Arabia This team has some interesting players. Eric Bailly in that team, Kessie in that team as well. Some other players with the senior national squad in there. Then you have Brazil, Richarlison grabbing a hat-trick in that one. Paulinho scoring as well. They defeated Germany 4-2. Guess who's the captain of this team? Everybody knows. Old war horse, Dani Alves, captaining Brazil to an opening win. That ends the Olympics segment. So we'll take a breather and come back for more to talk about the other things in your amazing world of sports. Welcome back, Bolu. Let's talk about our own. It's getting interesting. We had a very interesting discussion in when I saw you earlier in the day. Let's take a look at the results. Favor's still with us as well. We'll get his thoughts. But let's take a look at the results. Match day 34. 4 games to go in the Nigeria Professional Football League. So let's put everything together. A couple of matches played today as well. So here you have the results. Kwara United defeating Wiki Torres. The Kada hitting Adamawa 4-0. We'll talk about Adamawa. They're in the news for the wrong reasons. FC Fanyaba and Eiba played a 1-0 draw. Jigawa Golden Stars defeated Rivers United 2-1. Sunshine Stars played a goalless draw with Katsina United. Then you also have some matches. Official game actually, MFM and Plateau United. MFM defeating Plateau United 3-1. Aqua United holding on strong, defeating Warriors 3-0. Lobby Stars defeated Nasarawa United and were able to. It was a favor for Aqua United, if you ask me. Defeated them 3-2. Rangers defeated Kano Pillars 2-0. IBA Warriors also defeated Heartland 2-1. Your thoughts on this? I'll go to favor later, but I also want, after you're done, I want special emphasis on the MFM Plateau United game because it's our future game. And okay, let me do something quickly. Let's take a look at the table. That will help. That will help in the discussion. Let's quickly take a look at the table after match day 34. This will feature prominently in what the guys have to say. Aqua United sitting pretty on top of the table, leading the pack with about 6 points. Yeah. So factor all of that into what you're about to say. It's hard to bet against Aqua United.
Well, the first thing is that they have been relegated. They are 15 points behind Jigawa Golden Stars, just as
so 3 more to go.
With 4 games to go, so they are out already. So it's about who will join them. And the battle for the 3 that will join them is first. Warrior Wolves and Ifeanyi both have 35 and 34 points, and Sunshine Stars above them 38. And Jigawa Golden Stars and Wiki Torres are just above them with 39 points. So the battle for the next 3 is still tough. But Adama, see you in the NNL next season. But for Aqua United, yes, they'll tell you mathematically, even if they win 2 games, they've still not won the league. But their goal difference is huge. They have 20 plus 24 goal difference. The closest to them is plus 12. And
so if they win 2,
they will lose 4-0 in their 2 games.
They have to lose like
they have to maybe 5-6 or something. So I think they've won the league. Now next 2 home games they win. It's not they will win their next 2 home games, and away they would likely pick a point. But like they say mathematically, they need just 7 points to seal the title. But the question is, even the next 2 games we expect them to win. Will Nasarawa United win that game? Will Kano Pillars win that game? Will Ehimba? Those 3 teams have been somehow poor, especially Kano Pillars, in the last few games. So I think it's good for Aqua United. It's a good way to, and interestingly, there's a certain veteran in that squad, Fomundo. Yeah, he has not really played so much this season, but when they win the league title, he'll also get a medal. So I think I'm happy for them, and it shows fight hard, work hard, be consistent. One of the things that pushed Aqua United to the top of the table was that long unbeaten run. While others were drawing games, losing, they just kept winning and drawing away matches, and here we can see the results for them.
MFM play 2, quickly.
Well, I think it was a good win for MFM. You expect MFM at their game to probably. I'm always surprised anytime MFM score more than 2 goals. It's always 1-0, 2-0, 2-1. But this time around, they got 3 against a Plateau United team. And that goal made them level on points with Plateau United. Nothing is taking MFM down. Yes, it's not. People expect MFM to fight for the title, maybe fight for making continental place. But even if they can't, even if they couldn't, the fact that they started poorly at the point, then suddenly they picked themselves up in the second half of the season. They didn't concede a single goal, I think, in the month of March or April. And it's one of the things that helped them fight from the relegation battle and push them into the top half of the team.
Okay, before we go on a break, let's quickly listen, take some reactions from both managers. Favor still with us. We'll listen to what he has to say as well. But let's take some reaction. You already know MFM won this game 3-1.
So excited for the victory. I think we have been working on this to get a good margin of goals. Winning by, there is not only winning by 3 points, we want to win by goals, which the boys have done it for us, for the teams. And we work playing to instruction. Very exciting game for the boys. I'm happy. Kone Elijah is one of the, I think, the engine room of the team, which for some times he has an injury, just coming back, and which I personally work on him. So, talking of area of conversation of the edge of 18 shooting, which he did today, which I'm so happy, playing to instruction, and he gets what I want. And I think he can still score more than that before the season ends. We are still going to play a normal game as the way we're supposed to play, because there's no, we can see, because we are okay and we just want to take the game in. Like I said, no, we're still going to do the normal job we're supposed to do, get a necessary point from away, either home or away, so that we can be able to see how we can sit very well on the table.
We lose to a very good side, MFM. But the truth is the matches are getting too many for players. I know what LMC are aiming to do, to finish the league at the right time. But we should not forget some of these players will get injured and it can end their career. It's not good. At present, I lose 10 players to come here. I came without 10 of my regular players, and it's not good. The result is the same. We lost. Nobody will look at you lost your key players. 5 of the players that played today are making their debut. So it's difficult, but I'm satisfied with how they play, with the performance, and I believe at least we have achieved something, giving players a chance to play at this level. And we discover some of them that they can be able to pitch into the team. If not this year completely, but next season, they will be an integral part of the team.
All right, welcome back. I still have Favor Itua with me. Favor, you've seen some of these matches. I want you to talk about what just went by, MFM and Plateau United. A lot of people expected great things from Plateau United. I felt they recruited well and all that. Hasn't really turned out to be that kind of a season for them. And if you look at MFM as well, I guess a lot of people felt they were on a downward spiral, but they also fine. So contrasting fortunes for both sides.
Yeah, contrasting fortunes for both sides. You look at Abdul Maikaba. I mean, 3 seasons now with Plateau United. His first season was not what we'd expect from Maikaba, but you can cut him some slacks. And then the second season, they were on the verge of winning the league, but it was ended. Of course, no thanks to what happened, and they represented Nigeria on the continent. And just some weeks ago or some months ago, this same Plateau United were on the continent and did not give a good account of themselves. They went out. I think the problem for Plateau United is Abdul Maikaba not preparing for max exodus of his players. I mean, over 3 of his players are currently not in the squad right now. They've gone abroad. Talking about Issa Indala, not forgetting also Bernard Ovokie, the former Bayelsa United player. So, I did not prepare for life after these key players in his team. So he's left with trying some players who haven't gotten games in Plateau United. And for MFM, since the exodus, of course, for the former coach, Coach Bolus, even though he had tried to bring the team to a particular place, I think Coach Gabriel somehow has been able to galvanize the team to bring out results. MFM, for me, did start well, but they've been able to pick points away from home. They've been able to win away from home this season. They've got the guts to go push out for something, and currently 11th on the log with 2 or 3 points. 3 points, they probably will say, yes, we're safe. We're not competing for top 4, but we can tell ourselves we didn't start well, but we are in a very good position, to wrap the season. And for MFM, Coach Gabriel has really done a good work with MFM. I mean, nobody look at the players, no big names, quote and unquote, but you look at players who want to, show themselves, players who want to show how hungry they are. Don't forget this team some seasons ago were just 2nd place on the log and represented Nigeria on the continent. after they got promoted some seasons ago. So you must give the team a credit. And for my cover, maybe he has to go back and see how he can try to rotate his players more rather than depending on a particular set of players in his team, which of course has not really done well for him, knowing fully well that some of them are not even in the team right now.
All right. Favor, before we let you go on the show, Bolu has done this already. I want you to do this in a minute. Is it hard to bet against Aqua United winning the title? Then also talk to me about the 3 teams that you think will join Adamawa in relegation. I hope you can be able to do that for me in a minute before we wrap things up on the show.
All right, quick, straight to the point. For Aqua United, it's going to be it's going to be high risk. It's going to be you putting something that might or that might go down, in drain. Talking about them not winning the league. I mean, they've got 2 home games. Jigawa Golden Stars, their next game, they go away at Ifeanyi. They come back to play MFM. With 6 points, they're already sitting with 70 points. They have 64 points currently. Also, their current their rivals, or rather the team pursuing Aqua United, Nasarawa will still come to Uyo to play Takada FC. So Aqua United, the title is in their hands to lose. I mean, they have the piece, they have the cake, they have the yam, they have the knife. They can either cut it which direction they want to cut it. Right now, they are poised to win the title because of what the number of fixtures they have and the teams will be playing 2 home, 2 away. I think they might win the league before the last game against Lobby Stars in Makurdi. Therefore, the teams that would join Adamawa United, I think Sunshine Stars have got difficult fixtures. They play Nasarawa United away, they play Plateau United at home, they play Eyimba away, and they play Rivers United at home. These are difficult games for Sunshine Stars. I mean, they might just kiss the NPFL title goodbye. Not also forgetting FC Ifeanyi. FC Ifeanyi gets to play Rivers United away from home. They play Apa United at home. They play Jigawa Golden Stars, who are still also battling for relegation, away from home. And then Warrior Wolves, they play Warrior Wolves, who also want to beat the drop at home. So I think it's going to be Ifeanyi, Sunshine Stars, and not forgetting also Warrior Wolves.
All right. The world is watching. The world is listening. So if it turns out to be right, we'll give you kudos. And if it doesn't turn out to be right, you eat the open pie whenever we see. But Favor, I want to thank you for your time on the show today. Hopefully we'll do this again some other time.
Thank you very much, Eddie. Always a pleasure.
All right. As our friend Favor, to all the way from Port Harcourt. Bolu, we party short on the show. We don't know who's going to win the ITO Cup, but your best pick for 2nd and 3rd position?
Well, I think Eyimba will make that 2nd spot, and I think I'll bet on Nasarawa United to make the 3rd spot.
Straight away?
Yeah, Kano Pillars have been probably disappointed last week, so I think it could be Nasarawa United and Eyimba.
You agree with his picks for the ones who join? I
don't think that if there's going to be any change among those in the bottom, maybe Jiga Golden Stars replacing Sunshine. But apart from that, I don't think there's going to be any change.
Okay, that'll be interesting. I'm also interested in asking you this. Do you think that because now we're going to the business, we're already in the business end anyway, but do you think we can sustain this calendar? There are fears in many quarters, okay, we'll rush and finish the league, but the delays, all those things will still be there. So we know this is done and dusted. Bakaba said it, the way they rushed it, we will finish, though there's a delay, we'll finish. But do you think all those things that always cost us time will still happen?
It will still happen. Why? Because I remember people complaining about Premier League not going on holidays or like others. And they let you understand they have many fixtures, they have played 2 cups, and they've been going on like that for years, and nothing happens. One of the major challenges we had this season was that mid-season break they had. The break was supposed to be, I think, 2 weeks, and they ended up in like 6 weeks on holiday. And that's why we are rushing, because of deadline for submission to CAF, for fixtures, everything. So if we need a calendar. Someone talked about, okay, I think it was Femi Faraway on this show when he was talking about ITO Cup. Now, we need a calendar. For whatever reason, we may have a change, but let's know there's a calendar. Let's know fixture before. We all know who Real Madrid will be playing. We all know who Arsenal, all these guys will be playing from the match day 1 till the end. One thing they don't fix for all is time. But at least you know you are playing this person on this weekend, and in like a month or 2 you know your time. But here we don't. Sometimes you release fixtures for just match day 1. Then they start. No, we need a calendar, and it must work. If you follow through with our calendar, it's easier that way. You know, for whatever. And we should stop this nonsense of you're playing on the continent, you can't play that weekend. Especially if both your continental game and your league game are meant to be at home. You cannot play on Wednesday at home in the Champions League, and on Sunday at home in the league, and say you want to postpone it. Those are the part of the challenge we have. Until we follow this thing through, we may end up having these same issues come 2022.
All right, I pray we don't. I pray we don't. I pray we don't. But if we don't solve those problems, we just might. Bolu, I want to thank you for your time on the show today. It's always good doing this with you. Hopefully, we do this some other time.
Yeah, definitely.
All right. That's the show today. Thanks for being with us from start to finish. We'll be back again tomorrow, take you on a trip. Because of the morning spinning world of sports. I'm Yemi Adebayo. Bye-bye.